All right, so let's move on to our review of Across the Spiderverse, shall we? Bailey wants to. Dog. Yo, sis, what we doing here? Come on. Okay, so we both went and saw this movie today. Literally today.
Yeah.
Where do I start? Well, let's start here, Dante. You have egg on your face.
I do.
You have a hell of a lot of egg on your face because
So
you just want to address it?
yeah, I'll address it. I spent the past week, maybe 2 weeks, shitting on this movie.
Well, no, I don't want to hear your review yet. This isn't the egg that you have on your face. You came in here with a box office prediction last week of $70 million.
I did. I fully did. Yes.
How'd it do?
Oh, you want to know?
Yeah. How'd it
think
do?
It was greatly more than that.
120
Yeah.
domestic.
Yeah, $120. 220 worldwide. Yeah. No, that's good.
You can get why last week it was like, well, what do we do? You're like, I think this one's gonna be a bomb,
Bro.
It's so funny.
You
I knew it was bad for you because I did have tickets last Thursday and I just didn't go. But when I bought the ticket on Wednesday night, there was no seats open in the whole back half of the theater. Like the only seats that were available were in the very front of the Dolby Cinema.
the neck breakers. You don't want those.
Yeah. If I went, I was going to have to sit in the handicap row with strangers.
Yo, bro, hold on. Have you ever thought about just bringing a fold-up chair and sitting in one of the actual handicap spots?
I mean, that's crazy.
I think that's genius.
You don't think that like you would look at a person like you're a fucking psycho if they did that? If they pulled up a folding chair next to you?
I think it's 2023 and they're not allowed to judge me.
No, they can judge the shit out of you.
I identify as handicapped.
That's I say a lot of fucked up things. That might be it.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. You say worse shit than that.
We're gonna have to
Don't
bleep
try
that.
to play that up.
We're gonna have to bleep that out, sir. Bailey, what are we doing, dude?
Bro.
She's going crazy over here. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. I just chose not to go instead. So yeah, what is the box office before we get into the actual review? Because I'm now interested to hear what you're gonna say. But yeah, box office for the week. So it clearly won. It finished at 120 mil domestically. What else do we have? What was the rest of the box office for this week?
We got The Little Mermaid at number 2, 41.4 million.
Better than I thought it would do.
Yeah.
What did it do last week? Do you know? If you don't have it in front of you, not a big deal.
I have the tab up here. Last week it did 95.
So 55% drop off. Okay.
56, good math.
Yeah.
Then we have The Boogeyman at number 3. I didn't even know that was
I knew that was coming out. How much money did it do though?
12 mil.
That's for a horror movie. So the good thing about horror movies is like generally the budgets don't have to be very high. So I imagine that is going to do fairly well. I mean, it probably had like a $20 million budget if I had to guess.
And then Guardians still holding strong. Number 4 at 10.7 mil.
This isn't good for Fast and the Furious.
Nope, because Fast 10 is next. That's 9.6.
That's bad.
And then Mario still pulling money. 3.4 mil.
Where are we at with like The Machine, Kandahar? Any of them still up there? Top 10?
Kandahar is number 10 at 750K. Machine number 8 at 1.7 mil.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's fine. You know, I think this played out about how we anticipated it. I'm impressed that Guardians has still got the staying power that it's got.
Yeah.
I'm not shocked at the Fast and the Furious drop off. You know, like that's on par with kind of where it was going. It's still banking it. I think it just crossed 600 mil worldwide though.
660.
Yeah. So yeah, let's get into Spiderverse because obviously it was the talk of the town this weekend. It made a ton of money. I want to hear what you were gonna say.
So, I still stand by. I didn't really enjoy Into the Spider-Verse that much. This one, on the other hand, I like the way they told the story a lot better. I was still bothered by the art style, but not as much. It more so bothered me when they were in like, what's her name, Gwen's world.
Mm-hmm.
But when they moved on to like
the runny paint. Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, everybody,
oh yeah,
spoilers to a point. So 3, 2, 1, spoilers. We haven't done anything yet, so I feel okay. But yeah, like the aesthetic in her world was kind of runny paint when they're in the house and
well,
stuff.
the glitchy like changing colors and shit. I just feel like the movie should have started with an epilepsy warning.
Yeah, it's probably a fair point.
Like even with all the like Columbia Pictures and 20th Century, all that crap, like whatever it was, like all of those were all glitchy too, and I was just like, that's so annoying. But all in all, I actually ended up really liking the movie.
I wanted to come in here, and first things first. I stand by the fact that this movie is egregiously long, like offensively long to me.
I feel that probably longer than it had to be, especially. Yeah.
I caught like a 5-minute nap in this movie, and like I'm happy I woke up because like once I woke up, I think it got to like the better parts of the movie for me. But it was dry at points, man. Like I thought that I think the story's really well done. I think the script is good. It flows very nicely. The witty comedy, like all of it, like all the unique Spider-Man characters all feel that unique, right?
Yeah, that shit was dope.
So I from a critical standpoint, this movie hits everything you could basically ask it to hit. I do think the second your piece on the artwork itself, did it bother you when they would show text on the screen and you couldn't read any of it?
It flashed way too fast.
Yeah, like in some of it was by design. Like there was a scene where like they're walking down like a hallway and there's a lot of different text happening on both sides.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, you can't read any of that. Like I was trying to read
they
it.
were going after like the
comic
book
book
aesthetic. Yeah, but like
it just sometimes it doesn't work as well. I don't think. But it's unique and it's visually interesting and it's just different than you get from any other movies, really, right? Except for probably the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie that's coming out.
So when I went to the movie today, I finally saw that trailer.
Yeah.
I hate that art style too. I mean, it's the same comic book aesthetic.
It's ripped directly from it. Also, the new Puss in Boots ripped their art style directly from that as well. Okay. It's just, like Spiderverse was successful and it got a lot of praise for what it did. So other franchises, of course, are trying it. I'm not positive on this movie though.
No.
Here, and I want you to tell me if I'm a hypocrite. Because, like I said, initially my thought through the first 75% of this movie was, this feels long. There's a lot of dry parts to it. But, again, script is good. Artwork's solid. Characters are interesting for the most part. Funny. Not like nothing made me laugh out loud funny, but like, it was
chuckles out of me, yeah.
It was witty enough. It picks up, I think, in the last quarter of the movie. And it gets, I think a lot of it's good.
I think they went a little heavy on it.
I'm sorry, everybody.
Gotta be. All right. I think they went a little heavy on the character development in the beginning of the movie. Mm-hmm. And I think that's part of the reason the movie probably feels like it's longer than it should be. But at the same time, like, it helped me for, like, context where I don't know, like, background on these characters. Like, I didn't remember too much from, like, the first movie and shit. So, like, it was fine for me.
Here's where I feel like I might be a hypocrite. Fast 10.
Are you about to compare this to Fast 10?
Only in one sense.
Okay.
Fast 10 ends with a cliffhanger, right?
Okay, yep. I figured that was where you're going with this.
And I don't know. Do you think that I'm able to give that the leeway? Well, for one, personal bias, obviously. I think we can all just accept that at this point. But more so the fact that we went into that movie knowing that there was going to be a part 2 or a part 3 to it, right?
Yeah.
So you're willing to accept a to be continued. Versus this movie, myself and the person that I went with me maybe more so. I was left with anger.
Yeah.
At the end of this movie. Like literal anger, because as I said, it is 2 hours and 20 minutes long and it never has a payoff. Brother, it's like watching 8 episodes of a 10-episode season and not getting the final 2 episodes when you go to this movie.
That was really what pissed me off, is like, are we in a world now where movies don't have to have finality to them? Like, it's different if you're watching a series and, like, you know, a season finale and it leaves you with the, you know, the small cliffhanger into the next season. Or, you know, you're episode to episode and you get a cliffhanger and you're like, crap, I gotta watch one more episode. But now this is a movie where it's like, shit, I gotta wait probably, another 2 years for the next one?
This is a movie that there's nobody who has told you that that there was a second part of this coming.
Again, basically, like, if movies are going to be doing this, then I'm just not going to watch the first one. I'm going to wait till the whole shit's out and watch them in series.
2 hours and 20 minutes. That is largely, like you said, character development. Great. That's fine. I don't have a problem with you giving me context and substance. This is a fucking animated comic book movie. What would have been the harm in giving us some type of finality to this movie and then setting up the next one?
Yeah.
Instead, you literally left us on the cusp. There doesn't need to be a full other movie.
And the problem is, I think they had us in for the next one anyways. So, like, why couldn't they wrap this one up?
They definitely would make their money one way or another, and that's a part of the problem, yes. But do you also agree that the point where they left us in this movie, does it feel like there's a full other movie left, or does it feel like there's 30 minutes of an action? Like, basically, to me, there was a final fight. Right? Like, there's a final fight aspect, and then there is the wrap-up left of this movie.
Like, they could have done that and then left us with the repercussions of that, you know
with
what I mean?
A post-credit that sets us up for the next movie. Like every other fucking movie does at this point. Like, I just feel like they wasted a lot of my fucking time. And I already knew going into it, and this is the thing, like, I went in pretty low on this, and I was ready to come out. I've said this a million times over on here, man. Like, I go into movies with low expectations, but I don't think I'm ever really overly harsh on most movies because I don't go in with the expectation that most movies are going to be amazing. But when you do a 2 hour and 20-minute movie that is largely just dialogue and family drama in an animated movie, like an angst about his girlfriend, I don't know, like, it was just like... Yeah. It wasn't going anywhere for a large majority of the movie. And when you finally get to where it's going, which is the idea that he never was supposed to exist and that he's created all these ramifications and the Spiderverse itself is basically branched off of him. And now he's fighting against his own, right? Like people that he was looking up to, people he wanted to be with. I was like, that's when I locked back in on the movie. Because, like, this is something I can get into, right?
It's like, oh, I want to see where this is going. Never mind, cut.
Yes. And so I assume we're going to get a movie that is his team versus the other Spider-Man team, which is basically Civil War, right? Like, we're doing Marvel Civil War. And then he's also going to fight Spot. Who, can we go even further? Is that the type of villain that needs to be the main villain of a major release? You know?
But
like, this movie made that much money, and he's not bad.
That villain was such a small, like, big part of it, but, like, small screen time, you know what I mean? Like,
in a 2 hour and 20-minute movie, Dante.
Yeah.
In a 2 hour and 20-minute movie, we got very little interaction with the villain. And in addition to that, we even got very little interaction with the other Spider people.
Yeah.
Like, what was the first hour of this?
Like I said, they dumped a lot of time on character development.
Yeah, I'm not high on this movie at all. And I knew, like, I came out of it and I was like, I am frustrated by this. And the more I'm talking about it, the more I'm like, I'm annoyed that people seem to be giving it such a pass. Like, have you talked to a person who hasn't told you that this movie was really good?
There's only one person other than you that told me their feelings on this movie, and they liked it.
Yeah. I talked to a few different people yesterday that were like, No, you should definitely go see it. Like I think like I wasn't looking forward to it when I went in either, and I came away like loving it.
That's pretty much the review I got.
You know, I've heard that from several people, and that's fair, right? Like, because 75% of the way through the movie, I was like, this is pretty dry, but like again, it's okay. It's better than I expected because I didn't expect anything.
No.
The to be continued finish ruined it all for me. It just like I felt offended as a consumer with that finish. And I don't know if I should have prep for that beforehand or not have prep. I don't know what the right answer is there necessarily. I just know that this didn't feel like it. And let me know out there. Maybe I am being a bit of a hypocrite. Like, do you think I am at all, Dante? With like because like I was fine 2 weeks ago with Fast, and that was the first thing I did say to myself when I was mad about this being a cliffhanger ending and hitting us with the to be continued. But like they didn't even give you a post credit for this.
For me, it's like I allowed myself to accept it with Fast, but now seeing it with this movie, I just feel like that's going to be Hollywood's next big move on forcing you to watch their next movie, and I'm not for that.
Apparently, there was supposed to be a post credit for this. There's 2 scenes that were cut out of this movie. There was a scene where Spot goes into a bar and beefs with like other villains. And then they were supposed to have, and he gets like beat up, I think. And then I believe the post credit was supposed to be him now that he's gotten all his more power. And he goes back into that same bar and like beats the shit out of the villains. And that was supposed to be like the post credit. And they just cut both of those. I feel like a post credit would have left me feeling a little bit better.
But honestly, if that was going to be the post credit, I didn't need that.
No, but like they should, like I feel like giving me something, man. Like, because instead it's like, I don't know. I don't want to beat a dead horse. It's like, it's a good movie in the critical sense of it, you know, like it's like, again, it's written well. The artwork is interesting. It's fun to watch and like be there for. I think it appeals to a lot of different age groups, which is nice, but it's incomplete.
I'll tell you one thing I really did like about it though. What? I love the soundtrack.
Yes. Same thing, but I mean, look, you got that song like what Flowers or whatever was it? It was that.
Yeah, from Into the Spiderverse. Yeah.
Yeah, like the last movie had great music. That's again like critically does a lot of really really good things. So like the hardest thing I'm gonna have to decide, and I haven't done it yet, is where I'm gonna place this in terms of ranking year to date for me, because I have to try and teeter a line here of like critically it's good. But I'm extremely frustrated with the way it ended.
Well, because it feels like they just sold us an unfinished movie.
Like, yes. So, okay, I'm really mad about the length, right? But would you have felt better about that movie if it was 2 hours and 40 minutes, but they gave us a climax?
Yeah. Like, get me somewhere.
I don't know how I feel. I truthfully think I would have rather them given me an hour and a half of this and then giving me another hour and a half movie in a year.
Honestly, man, like, by the point of the to be continued, right? Like, that's where shit was starting to heat up, and, like, I was really into the movie. It was out of my head on how much time left is in this movie, right? So if they had drew out another 20 minutes and gave me some finality, I think I would have been cool with it.
So the thing is, like, I was definitely watching my phone. I was watching the clock through a decent amount of this movie. Being like, wow, there's still like an hour and something left. Because it was like, where's the story going at some points towards the beginning, right? Like I said, the whole first hour, you're like...
You're still doing character development.
Like, what are we really doing here? Dude, 2 hours in, you're still doing fucking character development. Because 2 hours in, you're getting the revelation that, like, he's being told that he was never supposed to be bit and X, Y, and Z, True, right? Yeah, like you're still doing character development at 2 hours in. At 2 hours in, the only action you had really gotten, correct me if I'm wrong, is the initial fight between Miles and Spot, which is fun. I thought that was a fun fight at the beginning with like the ATM and like all that stuff, right? The other one you get is on the bridge. When he saves the police officer and the bus is going to fall to, you know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
In Mumbai.
Yes.
The Indian Manhattan.
Am I missing any action sequences in the first 2 hours?
I don't know if you're counting the Spot fight as all one thing, because remember he went to that meeting and then went back to fighting them?
I'm counting it as all as one thing, because it nets, what, 15 minutes?
Probably.
So I'm talking about 30 minutes out of 2 hours. is dedicated to some type of action. And everything else is just kind of like talking and like fawning over a girl and like, where am I going to go to college? And my mom wants to ground me. And should I tell my parents about what I do? And like, you know.
Yeah, that shit with like the family and all that, there was definitely way too much of that.
I'm fine with those things, right? Like,
well,
I don't,
shorten
but
it.
yes, you don't need to have it drawn out to that level. To just not get
Draw
a payoff.
that out to cut out the action, like.
Yeah, to not get a payoff. All of these things are fine if you give me a payoff. And I just find it hard to believe that in 2 hours and 30 minutes worth of time, you can't build a movie out of this that has a payoff. That doesn't need a whole other movie to be made.
Well, it's all intent.
Yeah, it's money.
Yeah.
It's all fucking money. So, looking back, I'm gonna have to I'm gonna pull up my year-to-dates real quick, okay? And we'll just, maybe I can try to place this for us in real time where I think it's gonna fall. So let's go to my list, my 2023 movie rankings. Let's edit it real quick. We're gonna add Across the Spiderverse. Just for kicks, we'll put it like at 5 for right now. Okay. So right now, we're going to make some live changes, I think, on this list. So I still have John Wick at number 1. I have Guardians at number 2. Would you agree that it's not better than either one of those?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to move Fast down. I'm going to move it down below Covenant because I do think I've determined that I liked Covenant more.
Damn. You trashed the fuck out of Covenant and said how much you liked Fast.
I didn't trash Covenant. I've every week come on here and been like, it's one of my favorite movies of the year and told people that I think they should watch it.
I'm sorry, I confused it with Kandahar.
Yeah, no, exactly. Fast versus this. I have to decide if this list for me is personal preference or if it's what's actually better.
It's your list, so it's got to be personal preference, no?
Oh, this is going to be a tough one to place, dude. Because my enjoyment of this movie is real fucking low, I'm going to say. Like, I want to give this movie like a 2.5 stars.
But you don't feel it's deserving of that.
I feel it is incorrect in the sense that I can't give Fast 10 3.5 stars and say that it is tangibly, substantially better in terms of, like, it goes critical versus personal enjoyment, right? And you have to find a way to border that. Because, like, if I have it at 2.5 stars, it's ranking with movies like Dungeons and Dragons, Shazam, and Ant-Man.
I still think it's wild that you have Shazam that low, but
okay, like, this is tough because, like, I don't like this fucking movie, man. This is upset. This one upsets me. So as of right now, if I just placed it, I would have Spider-Man Across the Spiderverse in between Creed 3 and Ant-Man and the Wasp. Or you could say Creed 3 and Shazam 2, if that made you feel better. Because, okay, here, let me ask you this. What did you enjoy more, this or Super Mario?
Super Mario.
Right. I think I need to drop Creed 3 down because I do think Spider-Verse might be better than Creed 3. Where do you have Fast 10 versus this?
They're close, but I'm probably holding Fast 10 like just a step above it.
So I have Fast 10 at 3.5 stars. I think I need to drop it to 3 stars.
Really?
I think because, like, I've said this over time on here, right? That as I see more movies this year, I'm gonna find that I have to reevaluate some of these movies, and I think Fast needs to probably drop to a 3-star movie for this year, right?
So if Fast drops at 3 stars, like, obviously it's not possible, but I feel like this movie would be like 2.8 stars, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So this is where I probably just need to bump this to 3 stars, where I have it at 2.5. And then it just comes down to, like, so here's my 3-star movies for the year. Okay. Fast 10, Scream 6, Super Mario, Creed 3, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. And it's figuring out where I place movies within that, because I think Mario, right now it's tough. Fast 10, Mario, Scream 6, Spider-Verse, Creed. Spider-Verse is probably better than Scream.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was hesitating. Where does Scream land on that?
So I think for me, like, that makes this movie kind of a failure, though, right? If, like, Spider-Verse is this low, like, again, I don't think it's going to be a failure in most people's eyes, but
Can't
for
say
me,
it's a failure. The fucking money says otherwise.
yeah, but, like, again, like that's where it comes back to critical versus personal preference versus, you know, like, all of these things. It's like, this movie was always going to make a lot of money. It can talk to too many demographics.
It's also like, I know you said we're not a Rotten Tomatoes pod, but they love the shit too. It's crazy.
Yeah. All right, people. Let us know what you think out there. Blast me if I am far off base. If you think my rankings are shit, let me know, please, by all means. Please get on Dante about his egregious miss on the box office.
For those with good taste.